Welcome, everyone, once again to Coffee with the Kingpins. And today I have the pleasure of speaking all the way from India, Mr. Abhijit Shukla. He is a phenomenal astrologer, and he is actually going to share some very, very exciting news with us, especially for the month of June and July, but further on. And we're going to spend today speaking about an aspect from Jupiter, a benefic, which is I'm very excited about June and July because this whole year has been a little challenging. So, Abhijit, welcome to Coffee with the Kingpins.
Thank you, Firoze. Thank you, Firoze. It's really nice to be here back again, and thank you for the kind words.
Yes.
So, as you just mentioned, that Jupiter transit, we today we are discussing Jupiter transit and what happens for each sign
I'm
if
going
the.
to interrupt you for a second just to make sure, because maybe some of our viewers have not seen our previous interview, if you would be kind enough and give me a little background, where you were born, how you got into astrology, and so on. Just a short,
All right.
yeah.
All right, so I've been doing professional astrology for 14 years now, and I was born in the west of India in a city called Ahmedabad. And I'm born and brought up here, and I learned Jyotish from astrology, which is Jyotish is the Sanskrit term for it. I learned it from my grandfather. I started there, and then I had different gurus at different stages. And then I also did 3 or 4 courses with Simon G
Right.
from Albuquerque, Simon Chokoisky. And that's where I met this beautiful soul called Firoze, and we are here. So that's a little brief on my journey, and it's been since childhood. I was really intrigued. It's my Jupiter Ketu and eighth house and all that. For those who know astrology would know that you need a strong Jupiter Ketu connection to be an astrologer, and the eighth house has to be active. It has to shout. That it needs energy. So yeah,
And also
that's where I come
Mercury,
from.
and also Mercury.
Mercury.
Yes.
Exactly. The Mercury has to be placed well,
Yeah.
and because that's where you remember everything.
Right.
Learning is one thing, but remembering it and applying it,
Right.
you're right.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And we had the pleasure actually of taking a couple of other classes. I think we took classes with Dr. Andrew Datta as well.
Yes.
Anyway,
Or
it's exciting.
KP.
Yes.
That. Yes.
So let's begin.
Yeah. So with Jupiter, Jupiter is so what is 365 days for you and me? 1 year, because that's the time Earth takes to revolve around the sun.
Right.
Jupiter takes, because of its distance from the sun, it takes 12 years. Okay, and there are 12 signs. So on an approximation, once one sign each year. So that's how Jupiter completes a 12-year cycle. So after 12 years,
Sorry.
Jupiter is back into Cancer.
Right.
Yes, Firoz.
What I was going to ask, isn't this year a little unusual because of the retrogression? We've had more than one retrogression of Jupiter.
Yes. So I'll tell you how this works is even with retrogradations, if you count the actual number of days, it doesn't cross more than a year, or
Mhm.
maybe 3 or 4 days here and there.
Mhm.
Because when it is retrograde, it goes obviously for us it goes backwards. That's why we call it retrograde, and the motion becomes because we count the mathematic of retrogression and progression is basically based on our position. So it's with respect to us. So we minus the days and plus the days and all that. But when you see it's pretty much a year or maybe 15-20 days here and there, but that's because when it's direct it goes in a very high speed, and it makes up for the time that it was retrograde.
I
It is called atichari when it is in high speed. So there are years when Jupiter doesn't go retrograde for a longer period in its transit in one sign. But when it does, for the remaining time, it goes Atichari. Atichari is to move, and Ati means high speed, a little faster. So I'll explain it to you. So this time around, what is happening is then on 2nd of June, which is not very far away from here, I think Tuesday, the coming Tuesday, okay, Jupiter enters the sign of Cancer, and from that day until end of October, 31st of October, okay, Jupiter in this period, it just runs through the sign of Cancer. So it's basically Atichari. So one would say, hey, listen, Abhijit, you said it's going to take a year, but hey, years Jupiter that entered a sign in the sign of Cancer in June, and it goes out of Cancer into Leo in end of October. It's not a year, but hang on. What happens is it goes into Leo, and then the end of January it gets retrograde, and then it comes back in February sometime and enters Cancer again. Yes, February, I guess. And it enters Cancer again and then remains in Cancer until June again. So it does make up for the time it lost, and then it goes back into and then it goes back into Leo. So today, essentially, what we are looking into is how the transit that starts on Jupiter transit into Cancer that starts on 2nd of June. How does that, if have an effect on, or what effect does it have on the on each sign? People with, so this could be ascendant in each sign or moon in each sign.
Right.
Now there are a lot of people who always ask, should I see the transits from my ascendant or my moon? So from what I have learned from my Guruji and the texts, that it's all about how we feel. And that's why transits should be predominantly seen from the moon.
Right.
So when I say in further on in this video, when I say transit through Leo, so that means I'm talking about transit through someone's transit through Leo for someone who has moon in Leo. Their moon sign is Leo. However, having said that, you can also kind of see that it 25 to 30% this playing out from your ascendant, because both the things play out.
Yeah, I think
From the
that's very
moon,
important to look at both.
yes,
Yeah.
from the moon, it's what you feel, and from the ascendant, it's what actually happens. So when I'm chopping vegetables, sometimes I get a cut, but I'm just, oh, it's okay. And then I keep going on. And on some other day, I'm just worried about the cut and I'm feeling sorry about it. And it's how I feel about that cut.
Right.
Because it would have bled the same amount. Oh, it's a very gory example. I'm sorry. But I wanted to talk about pain actually.
Right.
And so I would move on. Otherwise, I would just be held back and I would be worrying, oh, why did it happen to me and things like that. And that's why I'm saying, please look at it from both, ascendants, like your actual ascendant and the moon sign ascendant, or the moon sign basically.
Right.
So let's start. If I have your permission, Firoze, can I start talking about Aries, the
Sure.
transit?
You want to share your chart?
Yeah, so I have these examples. I have a simple chart. I hope you can see my screen.
Not yet. Now we can.
Okay, great. So, assuming that someone has moon in Aries or ascendant in Aries, for them this transit is happening through the fourth house. So for them, it is all about happiness, mother, their own home, their gut, their chest, okay, like upper abdomen and the chest. It's the place, the city where you live. It's the actual physical building where you live in, and all those kind of things. Now, see, a transiting Jupiter has a lot to do with what the other dimensions of your chart is. For example, if you're running a bad period, then this transiting Jupiter can bring the effect or the ill effect of that bad period a little. It can kind of mellow it down, so it becomes easier for you to live through that. Okay. If the Jupiter is not placed well on your chart, then sometimes it can also have a negative impact on that house or things related to that house. But it is, I don't think it's okay to talk about things that are negative without looking at someone's actual chart. So I'm not going to focus on what can go wrong, because I don't want to others or the people who are listening to this video or watching this. I don't want them to feel scared or worried about, oh my God, there's fourth house and I have this placement and then what? No, let's just talk about the general effects of Jupiter transiting through Cancer for an Aries ascendant. And if people have doubts, they can reach out to you, they can reach out to me, or anyone for that matter, and maybe get a reading done and find out if how exactly it's going to be for them, because there are a lot of layers to it. So there is the Mahadasha system, that's the planetary period you are running. Then there are these other transits, because Jupiter is okay. Jupiter for an Aries ascendant is transiting from Cancer, but what about Saturn? For them, Saturn is transiting through the 12th house. And then Mars right now until 21st of June, because Mars, Mercury, and Venus, these are fast moving planets. Rahu and Ketu are also slow. So they are, Ketu, Rahu is obviously somewhere, Ketu is somewhere, Mars is somewhere. So there are a lot of other things to be calculated as well. So we are looking at just the generic things, right? Fourth house for Aries ascendant or Aries moon.
Wouldn't
Fourth
you,
house.
sorry to interrupt, but wouldn't you say that in the month of June, I think we have three benefics in the same house. In other words, Venus and Mercury with Jupiter in the same house. So that's really going to help things along, no?
Yes, absolutely. That will, on a mundane level, not as per the, I mean, in terms of natal astrology, with respect to that, children born during this period are going to be great learners, scholars. This is called the Saraswati Yoga.
Yeah.
Okay. On a mundane level, this will bring some common sense to this world. What we're seeing right now or for the past year or so, everyone's just hating everyone. That kind of thing. You'll see a few good people coming into power. You'll see that a few good people around the globe will have a say. They'll have an opportunity to express what they think, and people will follow them. So those kind of things will happen during that period when there is a Saraswati Yoga. That's when three benefics get together, and then there is the righteousness in every aspect is spread in the world. And so yeah, that's you're right, that's going to happen. But as I said, Mercury and Venus will take maybe 30 to 40 days, and they'll move on into the next sign. Jupiter remains here, so that little period will be good. But again, Jupiter remaining here, you also have to know that Jupiter, when it's in the sign of Cancer, it is in the same trikona. It is trine with Saturn. You understand? So um, there is going to be, I mean, we'll do another video that how do we look at this transit on mundane level. Let's just focus on because that's totally a different theory, and one we can predict what's going to happen in the rest of the year 2026 with respect to Jupiter's transit into Cancer. So as far as natal chart is concerned of anyone, Aries ascendant or Aries moon people can see them constructing new houses, buying new cars, expensive ones. You can see them taking care of their mother. Their mother's actually recovering from ill health, or some diagnosis happens, and if the mother is unwell, she finds her treatment. They know the path for treatment. Fourth house also brings you happiness. Children who go to school can see that they get support from the universe for, there is better understanding of their coursework. Um, Fourth house is also your deep psychology, so which again basically relates to how happy you feel. And fourth house is also your chest area, okay, upper abdomen, chest. So people might, I would suggest people with Aries ascendant to be careful with disorders related to lungs. If they are already suffering, then they can maybe go for a cure. They might figure out a cure, better cure for it through Ayurveda or through allopathy or whatever way. I'm not soliciting any one way of treatment. It basically is your domain. You decide. But they'll either find a cure, or if Jupiter is not placed well, they might have issues with respiration, because Jupiter, wherever it goes, it expands things. Jupiter is a planet of expansion. When you look at the size of Jupiter, and you compare it with all other planets, it's huge. Okay, so it expands. Wherever it goes, it expands. Happiness, expansion. Money, expansion. But if it's not well placed, it can also expand tissues and cells that are not necessary. Okay. So lungs, for sure, they have to take care. But I see this as more as a positive movement for people who are in Aries ascendant or Aries moon, because Jupiter is transiting their Kendra, it's going exalted. I missed out on telling you in the beginning that Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. What does exalted mean? Just in case people are wondering, imagine Bill Gates, and this is a great example that Simon taught us. Imagine Bill Gates, the very powerful guy, and Microsoft and blah blah blah. Imagine him at his home. Okay, he's a normal guy. Okay, he has a great brain, lot of money, and he's powerful. This that, but the same guy, when he goes and sits in his office, okay, he starts performing. That's when he starts giving he starts giving out excellence in this world, and grows his business and grows everything around him. That's what Jupiter does when it gets exalted in a chart, or on a mundane level like it's going right now. Jupiter will start giving its benefits. Okay, so for each ascendant, we'll see in the remaining video, for each ascendant there'll be a lot of different houses where people can see expansions, careers. Someone will get married. It'll be foreign education, foreign tours, constructing houses, or learning astrology, and those kind of things. Okay, wealth, someone gaining wealth, recovering wealth, as in some lost wealth being recovered. Those kind of things we'll see. All right. So, any questions with regards to Aries, ascendant, or moon?
Nope. Let's go to the next sign.
Okay. Okay. So the next sign is the sign of Taurus. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So in the sign of Taurus, what happens is that for them, this transit is happening from their third house. Okay. And for Taurus people, when Jupiter transits their third house is communication, third house is your siblings, third house is your actions, and third house is all the courage that you take, for undertaking, the courage that you have for undertaking all kind of endeavors in your life. So for all Taurus moon and Taurus ascendant people, they'll find themselves in a space where they can better communicate. There are some religious ceremonies in their siblings' homes, or their siblings are being promoted, or they are generally doing well. They are happier, in a happier space. Third house is also short distance travel, pilgrimages. So you might see a lot of people doing pilgrimages, like visiting religious places of worship, or visiting ashrams for all the good things, for calmness or for better headspace. So for Taurians, they will also find themselves in a better position somehow to whatever they are holding back, they'll be able to communicate it to their bosses, their spouses, whosoever. Because now they have the courage. Jupiter kind of has given them enough information, and Jupiter will give them enough knowledge about going and actually telling that person or sending that email that they've been thinking about. So this is a time to reach out and ask for um, a proposal in marriage, or I'm sorry, or it could be for that raise or promotion. And if you also see with um, with while it transits from Cancer for a Taurian, this placement also has aspect on the seventh house, on the 11th house, and on the ninth house for any Taurian person, because Jupiter transits fifth, seventh, and ninth from itself. This is very important because for anyone who is in Taurus and is looking forward to get married, this is a great period. This is a good period because, and this is also, I'll give you a good, great for all the astrologers out there. Whenever Jupiter transits third house, seventh house, 11th house, it is always connected to the seventh house, obviously. Even if it transits to 11th house, it is still having aspect on the seventh. From the third, also, it has aspect on the seventh. And when it's in seventh, it's in seventh. It always triggers marriages, partnerships. And this could be partnerships like living together, if not a marriage, if not a legal marriage, then living together, or it can be a business partnership. This could also mean starting new businesses or moving to a foreign land for a business. Obviously, there's a lot of other support that you need from your ninth house and 12th and Rahu and stuff like that. But that's how Taurus would work. Um, just a second. Okay. So moving on to Gemini. Any questions with respect to Taurus?
No.
All right. So you see, can you see the screen? We have Gemini on the ascendant,
Yes.
right? So for them, this transit is happening through the second house, while you also see the entire trikona, wherever Scorpio is, and Pisces is, and Capricorn is, because this is seventh, that's fifth, and that's the ninth house from the second. So for them, the sixth house, the eighth house, and the 10th house also gets activated through transit, through drishti aspect. But predominantly for all people who are in Gemini moon or Gemini sign, for them, this is a period to expand their families. Again, second house can trigger marriage and partnership. Here, it's not business partnerships, it's marriage, like growth in family. Second house, money. Exactly. See, you're smiling when I say money. Yeah, I understand. You love money, Firoze. So, second house is your wealth. This is a period when people can gain a lot of wealth. They get into partnerships or repositions where eventually they make a lot of money out of it. A lot of wealth which is lying somewhere else, and
Right.
you're not able to get it. Like someone's taken your money or someone has your money, but you somehow not able to get it. There are bad debts. This is a good period to get the money in your hand,
Get
bring
it
your
back.
money in your hand,
Well,
get
the
it back.
reason that I smile is because I really think, this year, 2026 up to now, has been very challenging for everyone in the world. I mean, look at, the conflict that's going on, the
Yes,
price of oil, the price of food. People don't want to spend money. So it's affecting everybody. Maybe
yes,
not people who get a salary, but still, yeah, because they have to spend more money on, things that are necessities. So, yes, it's been difficult. So I smiled because that's going to be much better.
nice. And I'll tell you what, this is I'm swaying a little away from the topic, but I see USA somehow. I don't know why, but I see USA as Gemini. I think USA has. I don't have. This is not on basis of some research,
Right,
but the way the US economy or the entire nation is, I think they are Gemini people as a bunch. And for them, this is second house.
right.
So a lot of okay, the world is in turmoil, this that, but I think US dollar or the American people in general, they'll
Well,
see their country kind of doing better
right.
financially.
Well,
And
doesn't US chart have Gemini ascendant?
I don't know. I mean,
So I think so. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
it does. All right. So then, because it's very Mercurian, it's like business, business. Everything is just business for. Even the movies that I watch, it was just talking business, from Hollywood. So yeah, so it's going to be great. And this is just a little tidbit that yes, I think it's going to be a great time for USA in terms of national wealth.
Right.
Okay, with whatever is going on, I just hope everything goes right.
From your mouth
With
to God's ears.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And please send some money to India
Yeah.
to. Okay, so moving on to just a second. I need to share my screen and yeah. So that's Gemini for us. It's the second house. Obviously, with respect to the trikona that I told you about, since Pisces is being aspected and it's sitting in the 10th house, so career advancement is a thing. The eighth house means going to a foreign land or studying a foreign language or get coming in, coming close, trying to understand someone from a foreign land. Those kind of things. Whenever Jupiter goes to eighth house, I've seen it um, triggering some knowledge based on foreign lands. Of course, eighth house is the house of taxes, debt, death, separation, and all those kind of things. I don't want to really get into what Jupiter can do here because it's really we have to see the natal chart and whatever is going on to get into that zone of the eighth house. But for now, let's just look at Jupiter as in a benefic in the eighth house. So the Gemini people, if they want to learn astrology, this is a great time. Okay, because their transiting Jupiter is activating their eighth house. Okay, so then now I move to Cancer. Now the thing with the sign of Cancer is that they have
Jupiter right there on their ascendant.
exactly. So I think they are the luckiest of the bunch, and they can. I think this is the time that they have been waiting for. Um, the because for them this is a period when they are really going to get some information or some support from the universe to fulfill to fulfill their aspirations or to really put their plans into practice. Mothers, I mean, women who are wanting to be mothers, it's a great opportunity for them to start a family or be a mother. Parents, if it's a father, then obviously they can communicate it to their wife and have children. um, Overall, your mind is going to be you're going to be more informed and knowledgeable. This is a time if you want to undertake a course or study or do something, then people in Cancer sign, moon in Cancer sign or Cancer ascendant, this is a great period for you to study and basically growth. Okay, this is also a good time for you to, if you want to start a project or some work where your physicality is involved, like YouTube, for example, or Instagram. This is a good period
Right.
because Jupiter gives you that, you may call it the glow. Okay. It will show on your face
And
that
Cancer is
Jupiter
a
is
very
there.
nourishing sign. So with Jupiter being there, it actually exaggerates it, right?
Yes, yes. And Cancer, Jupiter exalted for them, right on the moon or ascendant. This is going to be great for all the three, you see, for them, if you see on the screen, for them, the fifth house, the seventh house, and the ninth house. Ninth house is the Bhagyasthana, the luck house, the
Right.
house of luck. That gets activated. Fifth house is happiness. Seventh house is new beginnings, partnerships, marriages, you know, romance, and you can contribute romance to fifth, but seventh is, having a partner like a spouse or something.
Right.
That's so a lot of great things are going to begin for these people. They can find a guru for themselves who can actually see them through the next you know couple of years, and or maybe they can seek the knowledge that they want from their guru to survive for the next until the next great period comes. Because who knows, you might have Jupiter in Cancer on your ascendant or your moon, but you're also going through some other planetary period, which is the Mahadasha, which is not very supportive. So this period actually gives you a little reprieve, and it kind of pulls you out of the mud and gives you a shower and tells you, listen, this is how you deal with the mud. And then maybe you don't go as deep in the mud that you were before. So this is how this transit will behave. Can I take a break?
Yes, we're going to take a break. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please, if you enjoy these subjects, share it with your friends and subscribe. That goes a long way. And comments go a long way. And if you have any suggestions or questions for Abhijit or myself, please put it in the comment section. Please give us a thumbs up. We will be back with Abhijit to continue Jupiter for the Leo moon and Lagna or ascendant. Thanks so much, Abhijit, for being my guest. This was lovely information,
Same
very
here.
informative. Have a lovely afternoon, and it's morning here. Coffee time for me, maybe whiskey
Coffee.
time for
Yeah.
you.
Dinner time for me. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much. Have a lovely
Okay.
evening.
Yeah. Bye bye.